Well, Avryana, thank you for coming on the red carpet.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back.
You're very welcome. What can you tell me about your upcoming new film that's coming out?
Sure, I've got a couple that are kind of in the works right now. I can't really talk about a whole bunch. But Final Act is in the process of being edited, and I am so excited. I can't wait till that comes out. I'm hoping in the next couple of months here. And then I have gotten booked for two projects upcoming in the spring and summer of this year. I'm not going to say too much about them because I can't yet. Actually, no, I can talk about Dead Man's Creek. I got cast in Dead Man's Creek. I'm very excited for that one. Horror, you know me. But the other one is also horror, but I can't talk about that one yet.
What can you tell everybody about Dead Man Creek?
Yeah, so I get to play the lovely Brianna. It's just a very cool, creepy, fun story. The characters are really likable, and the location that we're filming in, we're filming in New York. I can't remember the town. It was like Amsterdam or something like that. Don't quote me on that. It started with an A, but
Mhm.
it it sounds like a beautiful small town with lots of history, and that's kind of my jam. So I'm very excited for that one.
Wow, that's amazing. And of course, do you have another one coming out called Caretaker?
Hmm.
Unfortunately, you probably can't talk much about it, but you're working with a couple, quite few actors that it's well known as well.
Yeah, The Caretaker was an absolute blast to film. It was my first time ever in Las Vegas, and it was so much fun. I had never been to Las Vegas before, so I wasn't sure kind of what to expect. But Vegas gets really cold at nighttime, which I was not expecting because I'm a Florida girl, so not used to the cold. So I was like bundled up in like three jackets and a blanket while I was filming, and I was like, oh. But it was an action movie, so I'm like running around doing actiony things, and it was actually like more physically demanding than I thought it was gonna be. But I had so much fun. Everybody on set was so cool. I got to work with Rampage Jackson, which was
Mhm.
amazing. He is so kind and just really down to earth. Paul Logan, he's hilarious. I had to kick him. Obviously not really, but like in the movie I had to kick him where the sun don't shine, so that was hilarious to film. Um and Robert Bronzy, he's amazing, very soft-spoken, very kind man. Um who else? Everybody else was amazing. I had a blast on The Caretaker, and I can't wait for that one to be bigger.
And what do you hope the audience will learn from the film, and especially you being in the character in the film?
I would want the audience to know that not everything is as it seems. And Gina is going to, how do I phrase this? Gina is going to get the future she deserves one way or another.
And what do you hope the film makes people learn from it?
I hope people will learn to just not like a big premise of the film is about the caretaker that takes care of the land, and throughout the film he's like really picked on. People bully him all the time, and it's just so sad because like his backstory is really sad, and I just hope that people learn and take away from the film that everybody has a backstory,
Hmm.
and to not treat them, with anything other than kindness.
So were you drawn into this character because as yourself, you are a anti-bully
Mhm.
person as well? Is that what got you like, I want to go for this character?
Partly, yeah, and I think the story is at its core a very like bully focused story. Like these bullies are
Hmm.
coming after me, they're coming after Robert's character, and the whole thing can be avoided if everybody was just kind.
Right.
Yeah.
To me it sounds like a awareness as well to
Hmm.
bring to the audience, to the world.
Absolutely.
All right. So, and of course, you have a couple upcoming films you can't talk about, but you were in 2024, you were in Spirit Springs. And
Hmm.
and what can you tell everybody about that? You played Eden.
Yes, Eden, Spirit Springs. Spirit Springs has to be one of the most fun sets I've ever been on because I like to tell this story with lots of fondness in my heart because a lot of these people that I had on set I hadn't really known before. Obviously minus a few, but most of the people on set like I had flown in, so I had never really met them before. And we were filming in this beautiful house on Homosassa Springs in Florida, and it's pretty rural. It's like a mile and a half down the road, maybe 2 miles. And so we had no cell service there. So our phones were pretty much just bricks. Like there was nothing we could do on them. So we spent so much time actually talking to one another and building rapport and friendship, and all of us are like we got so close during those 10 days of filming that literally leaving was so sad. We all cried. We were all so sad to leave, and we really were so tight knit. And I look back on those memories so fondly because I don't think I've had an experience like that on set ever again. Just what being without cell service is one thing, but like we just actually all connected because we didn't have the barrier of, a screen.
Wow. And you survived 10 days without a phone?
It was great. It was the best thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yes, when people ask me about it, I'm like, totally do it. Just ditch the phone, like obviously like get all the work done necessary and like have a way for people to contact you, obviously. But like just ditch it.
So do you still practice it?
Not as much as I should.
Because it's so hard to get away from.
It's so hard. There's always somebody texting, there's always somebody emailing, calling, so it's like, oh.
Yeah, we're so glued to our technology. We have to have our phone.
Yeah.
So, and what is your biggest role that you want to do next? What's your dream next role?
I really, 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 really want to do a rom-com
Hmm.
or anything rom. Like I've just been really interested, and I love romance novels, so I'd love to delve into that world, maybe hopefully writing one or starring in one would be great. But that's my next goal.
That's good. And I know, I know you're a writer. And so are you have anything coming up that you're writing a film, writing a script or anything?
Yeah, we actually have I'm saying us as in Babe Entertainment as a whole, we have a film that we are kind of still conjuring up. And we might be in the process of hopefully writing it soon.
Hmm. Wow. So I gotta ask, how do you handle rejections when you do auditions?
It's never easy, and I've really struggled with it this year because, I mean, I think every actor can say, unless it's like A, B list, every actor can say, I don't book as much as I want to. Like it's a very, very normal thing, but I've been really struggling with it this year, especially, and kind of like the end of last year and the beginning of this year. It's been really tough to kind of deal with, but you just have to remind yourself that no's are part of the game. And eventually your yes will come. You just have to kind of be patient and work hard and wait for it.
Yeah, I like to ask that question because for a lot of beginners who are now getting into the entertainment industry because they don't understand you have to have a thick skin being
Hmm.
in this entertainment industry, especially for like yourself, ladies or guys are out there, especially ladies, because if you mind me saying, they don't understand, am I not tall enough? Do I not have enough good makeup? Is my hair not long enough? What's going on? So it does mess with your mental mind and your mental health.
Hmm.
So for yourself as Miss Avariana, how does for you what do you do for your mental health when you're dealing with all the rejections in this environment, being in the entertainment industry?
I know it sounds a bit counterintuitive, but I don't like to do this, but I sit with the emotions and I let them brew through me, and
Hmm.
I sit on it and I think on it, and then eventually I always come to the same realization, like this is for a reason. This is all for a reason. I'm growing, I'm getting better, and this is just a stepping stool on getting better and being the best version of myself.
That's good. I like that. Do you also listen to music while you're doing that, or do you just meditate and that while you're thinking about that? If you mind me asking,
Yeah.
I'm kind of digging your brain just a little bit because it's so interesting how people handle it differently. Some people listen to music, some people just kind of sit and just meditate for so Aviana's mind, what do you do?
A lot of my like I don't know revelations come either when I'm driving in my car or like in the shower. Like when I have those quiet moments where it's literally just me. Um, Sometimes it happens a lot when I'm focused on a task like driving or showering, like those little
Hmm.
things like that. I find it a lot there and a lot kind of when I'm just letting myself be like without obviously a phone or a screen in front of me. I could just kind
Right.
of sit and take it all in.
Wow, that's so interesting how everybody who I've talked to handle it differently. And
hmm
that's so powerful. For you, how do you memorize a script? Or what's the what's your advice or what's your strategy?
I'm one of those really, really crazy human beings who I'll read a script obviously, like, but I don't memorize it until the day of the night before. I have I like to call it my like I don't know what I would call it. It's like kind of like a grab and dump memory style. So I grab everything I need for the day, grab it, and then at the end of the day it's dumped. So like I'm constantly like in a cycle when I'm on set of like memorizing the day of, performing the day of, and then dumping it all later.
Wow. That's
Obviously, unless it's like a really emotional scene where I have to do a lot of preparation.
hmm
But if it's just day-to-day scenes, like obviously I try to do character prep as best I can,
Right.
but I like to fly on instinct. And I feel that kind of like that first initial takes are the better ones rather than doing it over and over and over and over.
Right.
Feels a little bit like climate controlled, like it feels
Mm.
really just, you know?
Yeah, in the bubble moment or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I totally get it. Um, I have to ask, I ask everybody this. How do you are able to cry on set? I'm as myself and everybody else who was wondering, it's so hard to cry on set. So how do you cry on set? And I know a lot of people, which it's where I may hear this from you, that you go into a really sad moment in your brain. Like you find it, you somehow find it in the brain and just clicks. And some people are like, once you find it, it's so hard to get out of it.
Mm.
Like you're in that moment. So for you, what helps you to, if they say you need to cry on set and they're like action, what do you do? Like what helps you?
Obviously, like I need a couple of minutes to get in the right like headspace to feel that way because being on set is very like fun and everybody's joking and laughing and having fun. Um, but for me, I use music is the biggest one, and I don't think I've ever had that happen to me where I get too much in my brain and I can't stop. That hasn't really happened to
Hmm.
me, which is probably a fortunate thing because I'm sure it's so like emotionally damaging to do that every time. Um, I will use fantasy. So I'll think of something really sad that could happen to me. Because I've heard from a lot of like emotional coaches and like therapists and professionals, they say don't ever go back to like the trauma you've had and use that because it could be really damaging because it's like opening up an old wound over and over and over again. And it gets really damaging. So I've heard not to do that. So I try not to do that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. But never go back to that. What performance that you have done has changed you?
I would say final act, being in those dark, damp basement and the attic with dust all over the place and just final act was the first time I had like one of those almost moments where I kind of almost got stuck, but I didn't luckily like but like the tears were flowing. I was feeling it, and I was just so in it, and that was the most immersed I feel like I've been so far in acting.
Wow.
It's mostly environment for me, like
Hmm.
because being on that set, it was a real historic building. So the places we were going were real and dusty and probably not good, but moldy. And we were just there. We were running from a killer. We were surviving. And it was so real in that moment. And I was just very connected to my character and what I was
Hmm.
doing that day.
Wow. And of course you like horror movies, so you know,
Definitely.
that's something. Now, what's the most pivotal moment in your career?
Mm. Oh my gosh. It would probably have to be working with people like Rampage and um, Kevin Sorbo and Dean Cain and all these just really, really cool people and just watching them be so professional and so good
Hmm.
at their jobs is always so pivotal.
That's amazing. Was there a moment in your career that you ever thought you were gonna quit, but what kept you going?
Honestly, it's been this last couple months to year. Like I said, I've been really struggling with the nose lately. I feel like I'm auditioning all the time, every day, and it's just been nothing. So, I've really struggled this year, but luckily I feel like I'm kind of on the up and up.
Hmm. And what motivates you to keep going? I'm asking you this because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of young teenagers out there or young adults who are, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, who are going through the same similar stories that you're going through, that you just said. What is your motivation that kept you motivated to say, you know what, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not quitting. I'm gonna keep going.
Having that taste of what it's like to be on set. Um, I recently was on Tulsa King. I can't really say exactly what, my role was or anything. N Not anything like that I wanted to be, like I wasn't fully, fully face in front of camera. Um, but just being there and being so close to the actors that were in the scene, and just watching them do their thing was so motivating and inspiring because if I really had thought about it, there's not much of a difference between us because we're both human and we're both
Hmm.
actors and the only difference between me and them was they had a great audition and I didn't. Well, I didn't, what I'm saying, but like
Right, I know what you're trying to say, yeah.
the difference is, the hard work and the due diligence and that was really motivating. It also kind of was I think it was a stab in my soul, but in a good way, because it kind of put a fire underneath me to be like, if I work hard, I can be in that same position, like 10 feet away from
Hmm.
the camera the way I was. I was genuinely 10 feet away from the camera, like watching everything. And so I was like, my main goal is I want to be in front of that camera.
Hey man, that's so true. That's
Yeah.
absolutely easy. And Tulsa King, did you go to Tulsa, Oklahoma?
No, they filmed it in oh, I don't know if I can say this.
You don't know.
Not in Tulsa.
Okay, you don't have to say, don't say it's
I was
okay.
like, I don't want to get sued.
No, okay. At least we know that part. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, at least the scene that I was in was not in Tulsa. I can't say for where else they film it, but that
mhm.
spot specifically, not in Tulsa.
I totally understand, and I totally respect that because you signed the DNA and everything. So,
Yeah.
and don't want you to get in trouble. So, um, of course, you do cheerleading still.
Mhm.
And how do you find time to do cheerleading and, like you said, audition? And then I believe you can correct me. You're a senior, maybe in high school. Is that correct? I'm sorry. You can
I'm
correct.
flattered. I'm flattered. I'm turning 21 this year.
Okay, thank you. I am so sorry. See, you have to remind me how far it's been a while. But thank you for reminding me. You can now because you can tell people you're a senior in high school. But what keeps you not so busy because you're doing cheerleading and you're doing audition, and then of course, if you can correct me, maybe working. So,
Hmm.
and you are working now. Thank you. What? How do you maintain your life?
So I've actually graduated from cheerleading and now I actually cheer coach. So I've moved on from being the cheerleader to the cheer coach now. Um, but I teach children, and that's something I found that I'm very passionate about. In the most non-inappropriate way, I love kids. They're amazing. They bring so much light to the world and they're so smart. And they're so sweet and so unfiltered and so funny, and I love them. So that's what I'm doing like 3 days a week now because I really fell in love with it. And other than that, I do acting and then I do like content, which is full time as well. So it is a little bit hard to juggle all of that. And I'm hoping down the line, whenever I'm manifesting, whenever I'm A-list, that I can still find time to do, the cheer coaching that I love to do.
That's absolutely amazing that you love what you're doing. You're a coach and you still love it. It's your passion and here you are being an actor, an actress, and all that. So, um, in for what's I know it's still early, but what's your 5-year goal from now?
From now, wow, I want to graduate into doing obviously higher budget films and stuff like that, work with name talent. But I want to aim for doing 5 movies a year.
Okay.
5 movies a year. Because right now I feel like I'm capped out on how many did I do last year? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Probably like 3 to 4,
Hmm.
I want to say. But I want to, let me rephrase that. My goal for the next 5 years, in 5 years, I want to star in 5 movies in the year.
I believe it will happen.
I I want to I'm saying it will happen, but I also
Yes, it
really hope
will.
so.
I it will happen. I totally agree with you. How has acting changed to you in your personal life?
I have always been really, really, really introverted. But I found that acting has made me, I've always been observant, but it's made me even more observant about how people carry their bodies and how they speak and how, their faces move. And I try to emulate that. Like I see somebody like have this really like and kind of intoxicating body language and I'm like, wow, I want to hold that for a character. Like that's so cool. I want to do that. Like so I find myself observing people a lot more deeply than I ever used to.
Interesting. I like
Yeah.
that. Um, what part of yourself has acting straightened you the most?
Strengthened.
Hmm.
Okay. I want to say I'm still working on this because I think people looking at me from like an outside lens would say, "Oh yeah, she's really confident." But I think everybody can say deep down that they've got their thing that they're, insecure about. And I definitely do. Um, but acting has strengthened my confidence and my own perception. You know how I don't do this anymore because I've just gotten so used to it. But you know how like whenever you take a video of yourself talking and you listen to it back and you're like, "Oh, oh, um, I used to do that really bad. I don't do that anymore because like I hear myself talk so often. But I used to do that really bad, but acting really helps with, your self-image. I think it could go both ways though. If you see yourself on screen, you're like picking apart the little details of your face that you don't like. Or you can see yourself on screen and be like, wow, that actually looks pretty good. For me, it's a pretty even split.
So, since you brought that up, do you like to see yourself on the screen?
I like to see myself on the screen in the case of like picking myself apart. I like to see myself on screen so I can see what I can do better, so I can see
Mhm.
the things I did that I didn't like and, hopefully learn how to, you know, take direction easier and, because I do struggle with that sometimes. I feel like people outside looking in can think that acting is just a breeze. Oh, you just listen to what the director says, but
Hmm.
sometimes it's really hard to fully interpret
Right.
what a director's vision is versus yours. Um, so that's something I've been working on as well is being open creatively.
Hmm. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Yeah, be open-minded and be open creative and
Yeah.
go for it. That's
Because
so true.
I feel that like as an actor, you can get a really specific picture in your mind of what the character is. And then obviously this can be mitigated with communication, better communication before being on set. But you
Right.
get on set and like the director's like, "Oh, I feel like the character is going to do this," or they say the character is going to do this, like do this. And it like fully completely 180s you and you're like, "Wait, I just prepped to do something fully different." So acting, you have to be so flexible with acting.
Hmm. That's so true. That's 100%. And that's so interesting how you can flip 180 and
Oh, it's very hard. That's something I really struggle with is doing the flip and rerouting my mind into being like, okay, this is what I thought I was doing, but now this is what I'm doing. Like it's very
right.
hard.
That's so true. How do you mentally shift from a real life into character on set?
That's actually something I'm still working on. Um, I have always been very instinctually driven when it comes to acting,
Hmm.
and I didn't used to prep the way I probably should have. So that's something I'm working on this year is to actually be doing more character prep and understanding that the character is its own, quote unquote human being that is being brought to life and it's not me. Um, because I feel that I always put a piece of myself in the character, which can be really charming. But I feel that some directors, some producers don't want that. So that's something I've been working on is to separate myself from the character, if
Hmm.
that's what they decide they want.
Right. And um, to be on set, you have to get into that character's mind.
Hmm.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, just be in the character's mind and understanding the motivations behind the character and why they're saying the things they're
Hmm.
saying.
Has there ever been a character that changed you permanently?
Mm,
Or have you
oh
ever
no.
had have you ever went home or, with your friends or anything and they're like, wait, this is not you. And you're like, oh, wait, I'm saying lines that I'm still on character. Have you ever had that moment in life?
No, I don't think so. I've had instances on set where I feel more. I guess no, I guess that has happened to me. It happens more so on set though, because I
Hmm.
feel like I'm more open, and I'm just able to speak freely and truly be myself rather than, a carefully curated version that I
Yeah.
think people will enjoy more. Um, but I find that especially with, you know, actors, fellow actors, and creative people, I find myself to be way more open and just able to truly be myself and speak my thoughts.
Yeah, because the reason I ask is a lot of actors who I've talked to, they go home and they're around family and they say things and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, that's not you. Or like, oh, wait, what? And they're like, are you okay? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I just said a line that was in the character I just did. Or it's like a mean line or something like that. And it's like, so that's the reason I asked you, because have you ever had that moment? Because some people had that moment and they're like, oh, wow, I need to get out of this character.
That's so interesting. See, I have the opposite problem. I struggle to get in character sometimes.
And what helps you? I'm curious, what helps you to get into the character since you brought it up?
Ooh, I use music a lot. So if the character is, a moodier, sad character, I would listen to sad, moody music. But if it's kind of an uppity character, it's uppity music. So I can tailor the music however the character's feeling or thinking in that scene.
Wow, that's amazing. And what's the best advice you ever heard or received?
Wow, I've heard from one of my really, really good friends, and hopefully I get to work with her soon. Her name's Kat Black. Um, and she had told me about an acting coach she had worked with that had spoken to her about, the importance of emotional center and finding a center and how all the emotions you're feeling as a character are all like their own separate kind of, I don't want to say bubble, but like they're all kind of separate in your mind and you just kind of have to access each one. But she was so adaptive as a character, and I was really in awe of the way she, was able to just be this character instantly and then go back to being Kat. It was crazy, and I honestly should call her up sometime and just pick her brain about it. But I sh- she was awesome.
That's amazing. That is amazing to hear that. My last question is, what's your advice for any upcoming actors out there?
My advice would be there's going to be a lot of no's, probably a lot more than you think you can stomach, but you can stomach it, and you can do it, and you just have to use the no's to get to your yes.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that advice and thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really have enjoyed chatting.
Yes, and I look forward to speaking with you again sometime soon.
Yes, me as well.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye
You too.
bye.
Bye-bye.